Yatesy, if I could take a pint of his blood and put it into all of the academy kids that are coming through, we'd have, without doubt, successful players.
You only have to spend 2 minutes with Yatesy and you'll know everything about him, and that's complete commitment to being the best he can be.
He's just a heart and soul kind of player, and someone who is very important to our squad.
Live in the moment and enjoy it. If you're going to, get criticism, or just use it as motivation to drive you even further, and never lose that love of the game.
I've been here since the age of 8, so to commit my long-term future to the club is all I've ever dreamed of, really, so I'm delighted.
Ryan, congratulations, home debut, big smile on your face. That couldn't have gone a lot better, could it?
Honestly, absolutely buzzing. Just to get the call out, I honestly didn't know I was even going to be on the bench, so to get a full 90 and win the game is unbelievable.
Hello, Nottingham Forest ticket office, Ryan Yates speaking.
Well, that might run for Graben. It's Yates! It's in!
Ryan Yates, congratulations on 150 appearances for the Reds, mate. You mentality monster.
Magnificent achievement. You know that we're all so proud of you.
Bet you didn't think you'd do that when you weren't receiving it on the back foot. Nah, what an achievement, mate, to play for such a big club 150 times.
Seems a long time ago since I give you that award as an Academy Player of the Year. How far you've come from there. Well, I'll give you it. Many one own goal, I think, but yeah, so you deserve it.
Quality. What a quality video. Thank you very much for that.
So Ryan, after watching that video, how are you feeling, and what were those messages like?
Yeah, a little bit emotional, to be fair. Just obviously really nice to see obviously Cashy and Benny, Dawson. They're really nice words. Obviously a massive honour. It's just gone so quickly, like obviously looking back at a few bits there, like I looked so young and nervous doing that first interview. That was the Brentford game, yeah. Well, I don't think I was even on the bench the week before, away at Birmingham. I remember thinking, I hadn't played much this season. I was thinking, right, I might need to go on loan. Martin O'Neill came in and I trained really well, and I sort of got the feeling they quite liked me. Obviously they're not being involved in their first couple of games. I was thinking, like, I'm not going to get a sniff here. And then he was just reading out the team sheet, and then I was in the starting 11. I couldn't believe it. And then I've just been really, really nervous. Remember Benny and Ben Watson were just like, don't worry about it, just play your game, train how you've been playing, and just took it from there, really.
Your first Forest goal came against West Brom just a few weeks later. How did that feel at the time?
Well, I thought I'd scored in the first 2 minutes, and obviously put it off my heel, and it was going wide. Luckily the lad tapped it in, because that would have been a bit of a nightmare. But obviously then to score that goal, obviously gutted. Then they got a very controversial equaliser that night, but no, it was obviously a really special moment, and one I look back on. And
highlights of your time at Forest, on the field and off the field, what have you enjoyed the most?
I know it's a bit cheesy, but I think just the journey in general. Obviously the setbacks, the not so good performances, then putting in really good performances, and obviously getting promoted that day at Wembley, everyone talks about. But then just really looking forward to the future, and obviously the club growing on and off the pitch, improvements to the training ground, and I'm not one to really look back that much, but I think now and again when you just see things like that, and no, it's really good, and yeah, it gets me quite emotional, but I'm going to hold it together, and yeah, it's good.
And 150 appearances for this great club, a milestone I know you'll be proud of, and a 10-year-old Ryan Yates would be absolutely over the moon with.
Yeah, me and Mum and Dad were talking over Christmas about the cold nights when we used to come in from Lincoln, the hour drive where we'd have their songs on, and we'd take it in turns, and we'd sort of go past the city ground, and we'd be like, one day we might play here. But I just was enjoying my football at the time, and then obviously through the journey, getting to 150 games, it's crazy, but like I say, just hopefully many more to come.
Let's take it back to the beginning, joining the academy all those years ago, as you mentioned. What are your earliest memories?
I think my earliest memory was probably getting my first pair of proper football boots. I think they were like £45, which my dad wasn't happy about, but I was desperate for this pair of football boots. and he says, well, you better score a few goals in them. And when I first joined, I was a striker, so scored a few goals, and then one coach, I think under 10s the year after, put me into centre mid. So yeah, I think that was probably one of my earliest memories.
You were named the vice captain at the start of this season and wore the armband for the first time against Fulham. How much pride did you feel in that moment?
Yeah, it was a huge honour to get the vice captaincy at the club, and something that, you know, I want to be taking that responsibility. It's something I want to keep growing with on and off the pitch, and take huge pride in when I wore the armband. On
a more broad point, what has helped you to get as far as you have? Is something stuck in your mind, a certain mentality that you've had throughout the ages?
I think just enjoying what you do. That's for any walk of life. I think never getting too high, never getting too low. It's certainly something I've got better at, because it is difficult being, you know, playing for such a big club. You know, the lows are not very nice, and the highs are amazing. So I think it's just, you know, enjoying the process, staying extremely hungry every day, and never taking your eye off the prize.
What words of advice would you say to a young Ryan Yates if you could talk to yourself?
Just live in the moment. I think just live in the moment and enjoy it. If you're going to, you know, get criticism, or just use it as motivation to drive you even further, and never lose that love of the game.
Yatesy, if I could take a pint of his blood and put it into all of the academy kids that are coming through, we'd have, without doubt, successful players. He's just everything that we like to think that academy is about in terms of players. They've all got talent, but Ryan has that thing that ensures that he gets the most out of every day, and he'll continue to get better and better as a footballer for however long he plays. But it's that real drive, that inner drive and belief in himself that makes Ryan different to a lot of other kids that have come through here.
You only have to spend 2 minutes with Yatesy and you'll know everything about him, and that's complete commitment to being the best he can be. You know, whether it's his how he lives his life away from the training ground, how he approaches his work in terms of not just training, but his preparation, of his sleeping, of his eating, of his time in the gym, of his reviewing of his games, spending time with the analysts, and then obviously, you know, a complete commitment and desire to do whatever it takes to win for Nottingham Forest.
My mate Yatesy is, he's fantastic. His work ethic, his demeanour, the way he holds himself on and off the pitch. He's always standing straight, shoulders back kind of character, and he's a massive part of what we do at this football club.
The best thing about Yatesy for me is that he's only going to get better. You know, and you saw the impact that he had in the promotion season. You know, he was right up there with, hard to single people out, and I won't, but he was right up there in terms of the impact. So, so congratulations to him. But in Yates' style, it's about what happens next, and he's got to make sure that he builds on the experience that he has now to continue to do well for this football club, because I know how much it means to him, and you know, we'll continue to enjoy working with him.
He's someone who will go on and make many more appearances, hopefully for this club, and somebody who, even though he's a little bit younger than me and we're close friends, is someone who I do look up to. He's definitely a character that is infectious, and let's not take away his footballing ability as well. He's got an eye for goal, set pieces. He's a massive threat, and he's just a heart and soul kind of player, and someone who is very important to our squad.